Aloha and good morning, everybody. My name is Rob Hack. I'm from the Hawaii Pacific Export Council in Honolulu. We are a nonprofit district export council, and we are charged with teaching and mentoring companies in Hawaii about all aspects of exporting. And I'll point you to the website that I'm sharing right now. This is Hawaii.Export.Support.com. Please look there for upcoming events and get lots and lots of information about exporting. I'd also point you to our YouTube channel, which has myriad subjects of exporting, where we videotaped these seminars and webinars over the past several years, and you can find all of our videos here. This video that you're watching now will be posted on our YouTube channel within a week. I'd like to thank DBET as well. DBET is our local partner that generously provides us a grant each year to put on these seminars and also perform one-on-one company mentoring sessions. And DBET in turn receives a grant from SBA in Washington, DC. So we very much like to thank SBA and DBET. That grant is called the STEP, or State Trade Expansion Program. In Hawaii, that's branded as High STEP, for the Hawaii State Trade Expansion Program. You can find much more information about it at Invest.Hawaii.Gov, and then click on the exporting tab here. Okay, let's get on with today's program. We're very, very lucky to have as our speaker Kanzo Nara from the Imagine Web Creation and the I Do Web School. He's certainly Hawaii's preeminent expert on international e-commerce, particularly when it involves Japan, but the lessons that we'll learn today from Kanzo can be applied to Korea and China, other places he does business, but certainly places that our Hawaii companies do business around the world. So we'll be focusing a bit today on Japan, but I'd like you to please take away from this that there are subtleties about each market that you can learn about from today's presentation and apply to those markets, even if you're not particularly interested in Japan. I would say that our Hawaii companies in general seem to gravitate towards Japan for traditional and cultural reasons. Most of our exporters are looking at the Japanese market, and we'll continue to be working with the Japanese market in the future at the Hawaii Pacific Export Council. In fact, we have a Japan-specific event coming up on April 15th. We also have a Taiwan-specific event after that, so please look to our website here at HawaiiExportSupport.com for more details. Now, with that, I'm going to unshare my screen, and I am going to ask Kanzo to start his presentation. And take it away, Kanzo Nara.
Thank you for the introduction, Rob. Once again, thank you for having me here today. Appreciate it. So today we'll be talking about e-commerce and how to set up an e-commerce, how to promote it, what the differences are between the US and Japan market, and what to expect for the future of e-commerce. Once again, my name is Kanzo Nara. I'm president and founder of I Do Web School and QP Web Design. Our English website is Imagine Web Creations. Our company was started in 2006. We mainly focus on bilingual website design and marketing here in the US. And in 2015, we started our IT training section, which is we teach web design and web development in our classes. These are some of the clients that we cater to here in the state of Hawaii. Okay, first of all, getting started, there is 3 main approaches to starting an e-commerce website. The first one is owning your own website where hosting and everything is on your end. The second one is a third-party system, which we'll get into more information next. And the third one is online markets like Rakuten or Amazon. First one, this is the most traditional method in starting your e-commerce site. This is owning your own website. What this includes will be getting your own hosting server, purchasing a domain. Then you need to choose the platform where your shopping cart will run, installing the actual shopping cart system itself. You will need to purchase an SSL certificate, which is for security reasons for your website. Then you will need to select a credit card merchant. After that, you need to get compliance for collecting credit card information. You need to calculate how your shipping will be and setting up taxes and other custom codes for your site. So as you can see from the list here, having your own shopping cart on your own website is a lot of work and is a pretty big project to get started with. The merit of having your own shopping cart is you can customize it any way you want to. And this will come in more handy as we look at option 2 and option 3 in comparison. So here's option 2, is a third-party system. This is using a platform such as Shopify, Wix, or Volusion, which is you get to use your own domain and set up a shopping cart. This is probably the easiest way to get started. Since you can use your own domain, it looks like your own website. Setting up the account in the back end is pretty straightforward because they already supply all the information boxes where you just plug in your information like tax information, bank account information, and adding products is already set up in the cart, so you just need to add pictures and so on. The third option is using online markets such as Amazon. The demerit of using Amazon is compared to option 1 is you're very confined to the parameters of what their guidelines are. So such as your product pictures need to be a specific size, it needs to be transparent in the background, you cannot use models in the pictures, and you need to follow, numerous guidelines, even for the shipping portion. Once a customer buys your product, you can't put whatever you want to in the box. Let's say like styrofoam wrapping. Amazon doesn't allow the styrofoam wrapping anymore. So you need to use what's approved by Amazon. But the merit of using Amazon or Rakuten is they have a huge market presence already, and many people already subscribe to these monster markets where it's easier for people to find you. Okay, these are some of the top online markets in Japan right now in 2020. Rakuten for the year 2020 brought in 3,431 billion Japanese yen. Amazon Japan came in second at 1,528 billion yen. Yahoo Japan is at 731 billion yen. And as you can see in Japan, Rakuten is the prominent one, which is more than twice of what Amazon Japan is doing. But Amazon Japan is gradually growing, so these numbers will most likely start to get closer in the following years. Okay, so now once that we've determined what platform or what third-party system we're going to be using for our shopping cart, we'd like to go into how your website is going to look. So comparing website design for the US market and the Japanese market. Understanding the Japanese web consumers is quite different than here in the US. First of all, Japanese consumers like to have spoon-fed information. They like package deals and a lot of seasonal promotions. So, fall, summer, spring, and so on. Even if it is the same product, they package it and sell it a different way based on the seasonalities. Not so much like here in the US, which is basically we focus on Christmas and everything for the rest of the year is gearing up to Christmas. Another big web design in Japan is banner ads. So contrary to US market consumers, the Japanese don't like searching for products. They like to be told what's for sale. They like to be told what's promotional. They like to be told what's popular now. And this is where banner ads come in, where it displays what package deal or what product is being sold at the current time and what's popular. Now let's compare a couple websites to see actually how the design looks and feels. This is the Pizza Hut website for the US. Pretty straightforward. You have your header navigation here. You have one promotional gear, and you have this big call to action button that says start your order. Pretty straightforward, and I'm sure many people have already used this website. Second, before we get to Japan, let's take a look at Saudi Arabia's Pizza Hut. Once again, very simple. They have their header navigation here, and you can start your order by clicking on the center. Very straightforward. Now we'll look at the Japanese Pizza Hut website. This is the Japanese Pizza Hut website. As first glance, there's a lot happening here. You have one sidebar navigation, a second sidebar navigation, header navigation, a secondary header navigation. You have a slideshow here that has promotions. The top tabs down here, you have what's new, classical menus, try something new, what's popular. We have coupon information here, just a lot of information. And the ironic thing is, it's really hard to find where to even get started. So Japanese websites are, they don't want you searching or building your own information. They want you to buy what's provided here at first glance. An interesting thing about Japanese pizza stores is many of the pizza franchises, they don't even let you make your own pizza. You have to buy what's provided already. So you can't choose just one pepperoni or something like that. You have to go through these set menus that's been pre-built for customers. This is just a picture I like to use for Japanese marketing or IT things, because Japan is kind of always going back into the future. Japan is a very magazine-oriented society when it comes to marketing. So you can kind of see that in the web design layout here too. It's similar to like a magazine layout. And the IT industry is always kind of going one step back into the future. Okay, so we've decided our platform, we've gotten started on our design of the website. Now we start getting into the more detailed logistic portion of your website, which is shipping and taxes. This is numbers for international market average spending over the past couple years. So online shoppers in 2017 were about 70% compared to 2019, which has grown to 93%. The average spending domestically is $122, as internationally it's $147. This is a per month spending. Here's average spending per year for countries. US is number one, and currently in 2020, which is the annual spending rate's about $1,800, followed second by the United Kingdom, Sweden, and so on, where Japan comes in just a little under $1,000 annually for their spending. Okay, so going into the logistic portion, there's a lot of information that goes into just even adding one product. You need to add your dimensions, you need to add your weight, tax codes, shipping fees, international taxes, so on. And this is a list of why people might abandon checkout. So they visit your site, they find a product that they like, they add it to your shopping cart, but for some reason, they abandon the shopping cart. The number one reason, which is up to 60% why people abandon their cart, is the extra costs are too high. This is mostly shipping and taxes and fees. The second one is the site wanted me to create an account. This is very popular in Japan, but I discourage it just because people don't like their information being stored at places. You know, they want to shop, they want to get out, they may come back, they might not come back. They don't want you being held hostage with their email address, sending you promotions, you know, years after they bought your product. The other one is, you know, it's too long, complicated for the checkout. I couldn't see calculation orders up front. Website crashed, had errors. There's numerous reasons, but the number one is you want to be upfront with your fees. You know, people understand, they're used to buying things online now. They just don't like to be tricked at the very end of your shopping cart. So if you have additional fees, go ahead and try to incorporate that into your product, or be upfront with it on each product, saying international handling will cost X amount. You know, try to be honest and forthcoming with your users. Okay. Next one is taxes and customs. I know Rob has probably mentioned this at different seminars, but one of the important things when shipping internationally is setting up your harmonized system code, also known as the HS code. It's a 6-digit number code system that's based on your product type, and customs can look at the code and identify what type of product you're sending. So when you're setting up your shopping cart, let's say Shopify has a good place where you can put in your HS code actually. You need to visit the HS code website, customs website, and you need to search for your product. Try not to get discouraged too much here, because you're not going to find exactly what you're looking for your product. You need to find something similar. Like even when you search for shampoo, which isn't called shampoo, it's probably hair products under beauty and so on. They have a dozen different types of options you can choose. So just try to choose the most closest one that is your product for each product you add to your cart. So if you have 100 products on your site, you need to search for that. But most likely your shopping cart is one category. So if you handle supplements, it'll be supplements. If it's hair products, it'll be hair products, and so on. Okay, so now that we've understood what the logistics actually goes into setting up, creating your product, we need to calculate how much your actual product is going to be. First one, so your cost of product, let's say, is $12. Your packaging fee will be $2.25. The cost of shipping for your product, $6.50. Handling charge, $2. Duties and taxes, $4.50. Your customer is obviously using a credit card, so it's 2.9%. Then you want to add your profit margin. So your $12 product here actually turns out to be $56 if you do your calculations right. It's very important to do this for obvious reasons, because you want to know what your exact profit margin is. Also, you don't want to discredit things like handling charges and everything. You really want to calculate exactly how much you are getting for your product when you're selling it. Okay, next one is, where and when are my customers looking for me? Right now in 2020, actually last year's data, 83% of all preliminary searches online is done with your smartphone. So everybody is using their phone, obviously. So understanding when your customers are looking for you is very important. Okay, web users in Japan. An important thing to understand in Japan is Japanese workplaces are a lot more, strict compared to here in the US, where you might be, browsing the website at work when, in between breaks or whatever. But in Japan, a lot of times companies are very strict to what sites you can and cannot visit during work. So the bulk of time spent when people are searching for products is going to be, number one, in transit. This is when they're commuting to work. And since public transportation is very big in Japan, people spend a lot of time in transit. I think the average right now in Japan is about 45 minutes to an hour that people spend on public transportation. That's one way. So if you calculate the time they're coming home, they might be spending close to 2 hours on public transportation per day. The second time people have time to use their web browsers is during the lunchtime, during their break at work. And of course, the third one is the golden time of IT shopping is the evening time, about 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So people might do their preliminary search during these first times in transit or during lunchtime, but they actually do the checkout process, which is adding it to your cart and paying for it in the evening.
Hanzo, I just want to interrupt for
Yes.
1 second, excuse me, and stay on this point of the commuting in Japan, because a lot of our companies in Hawaii who perhaps haven't traveled to Japan don't realize that over 90%, I think 92% of the Japanese population lives in an urban area, meaning a city. And they spend a lot of time on public transportation, such as trains and subways and buses and what have you. And that's really quite different from the Hawaii lifestyle, where we drive everywhere, maybe occasionally walk or bicycle, but really we spend a lot of time in our cars. And that's not the case in Japan. And we have captive consumers who are on their phones or their iPads or some sort of device while they're commuting, because there's really nothing else to do for an hour and a half each way. And so people spend an inordinate amount of time on their phones, just looking at things and on the web, basically just passing time. So this is a great time to advertise and get your customers looking for you. And it's quite predictable. I mean, the Japanese schedule is very on time and quite predictable, where people get up every day at 6:30 and they're on the train at 7:15, and then at night they're back on the train at 5:45 p.m. And it's quite predictable and easy to understand. So I would just leave it at that this is an important aspect of marketing in a country such as Japan. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Rob. Yeah, and Rob is exactly right. Japanese spend a lot of time in transit for commuting, such that the number one selling accessory for smartphones in Japan is a portable battery. So here in the US, we just plug in our phone whenever it's dying in our car and we're good to go. But in Japan, people actually carry a secondary battery inside their briefcase or backpacks that they can charge while they're in transit, so they don't lose contact with their smartphone during the commutes. So they spend an enormous amount of time on portable devices. Okay, so now that we understand the when and where our users are looking at our website, this next part is going to be very important, is creating a landing page. So compared to websites, let's say 10 years ago, pre-smartphones, people will be sitting at a desktop looking at a website. And once they find it, they usually go into the second page, third page, maybe possibly even a fourth page to kind of browse around to see what's in the website. Now we have this 2-second rule to grab the user's attention. When people search something for Google, where they go is the landing page. If they don't find it there in 2 seconds within 2 swipes, they're going to leave that site. They're not going to go to the second or third page to try to find, or whether it's somewhere else in the website. So you need to also add visual effects that are loading faster on smartphones, also understandable in smartphones. Some of my customers like to go into too much detail for like design or fonts when it comes to creating websites. But what they forget is on the smartphone, they're really not going to notice those small design aspects. Let's say like background patterns or font styles. They're not as apparent as it used to be when looking at a desktop. We're on a smartphone, so we need to make our information clear and fast. And one more thing to add to the creating landing pages is this isn't just one page you make on your website. So your website, your prominent pages, they all need to be landing pages. So when a user gets there, they need to have this 2-second, 2-swipe rule where you can find the information that they're looking for right away. Okay. Yeah, once again, so your customers are busy and they have very short attention spans, and for an interesting reason, it keeps on getting shorter and shorter every year. This 2-second rule 10 years ago used to be about 5 seconds. Now it's down to 2 seconds. So people are busy with short attention spans, so we need to grab their attention with good visual aid and information. Okay, so now that we have our website, we've got our design set, we figured out the logistics for our product, we want to start marketing our website to get more users to increase our conversion rates. So how to advertise in the Japanese market? There's 3 types of marketing. First one is pay-per-click, which is Google Ads, Yahoo, Facebook. The second one is search engine optimization, which includes things like business blogs, natural content, more product detail versus just pictures. Interesting fact on business blogs, 32% of all blogs written in the world are in Japanese. Japanese are huge blog writing community, so writing a business blog in Japanese alone can increase your search engine, and also it builds up. So the more you write, the larger your website and more content you have. So it's a good place to start. And the third one is obviously social media, which is huge now, but we need to understand how and when and what type of social media to use depending on the country you're marketing. Okay. Next one is keywords in Japanese. Japanese use 3 types of letters. So you can see one here. This is kanji, also known as Chinese characters. Hiragana, which is the elementary font, the text in Japanese, and katakana, which is used for translating foreign languages. So these actually all say the same thing. This is ryoko, which means travel in Japanese. This means travel, travel, travel. So just by typing this into Google Translate, it's not going to give you the correct type of text you want to use on your website. And Japanese use these 3 types in searching for something. So Hawaii would be used in katakana, while travel, ryoko, would be used with this kanji. So people use this combination to search for Hawaii travel. So unless you have somebody who is fluent in Japanese and knows how to use this, your SEO or SEM campaign will not be very effective.
Kanzo, can your company help with those words?
Yes. This is something that we specialize very much in, is bilingual marketing. You need to be careful when you look for bilingual IT companies. There's a few out there. A lot of times the bilingual people they have are bilingual in the spoken language, but not so much the written portion. So you need to make sure the specialist you're working for understands the written material of the website portion. Okay, the next one is, so going into pay-per-click and SEM in Japan. This is probably the most effective way, and it's the most straightforward way of marketing in, I would say, any country, but in Japan as well. First of all, you get to set your own budget. You can set the time of day where your advertisements run. You can also use geolocation. So you can advertise in the urban cities or the countryside. You can select age or gender depending on how you want to market your product. So you can advertise very specifically compared to social media, which is kind of like advertising to everybody. But pay-per-click, you can go after the target audience much more better. Okay, so you remember what I said a couple slides ago about understanding the social media platform depending on that country. This data is very important. This is the Japan versus global media in 2020. So Facebook is very large. No, it's what 2.3 billion. You have WhatsApp, which is 16, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, and so on, which is the global users. But in Japan, it's totally different. Number one social media in Japan is @Line at 80 million. Then it's Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Line is even in the top 10 for the global market, which is interesting because it's number one in most Asian countries right now. So, just because we're here in the US and we're familiar with, let's say, Facebook and Instagram, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and start doing social media campaign on the wrong platform. You want to understand your target audience. And also in Japan, Facebook is actually not that popular for people under 35. It's the people above 35 who are using Facebook. So depending on the age range of your consumers, you might also look into that too. Not just what's popular, but what's popular for that specific age group in that country. Okay, so here's some things we can expect from the future of e-commerce and what's growing right now. These three are pretty big right now: fulfillment centers, currency converters for international e-commerce, and business administrative apps. Okay, the first one is the fulfillment center, also known as third-party logistics. For those of you who have maybe bought a product at Amazon or actually have posted your sent products to the fulfillment center, are familiar with this. This is an actual picture of one of the Amazon fulfillment centers. And as you can see, I don't think there's any people in the background. They try to make more things automated and logistically optimized for faster shipping and save on shipping. This is growing rapidly domestically. However, to send products to a fulfillment center right now, for here in the US, you need to have a US-based business. It's the same in Japan as well. So that part is still needs to be worked on to catch on, but there are companies in Japan such as Kuroneko Yamato who offer these services. So if you have a partner company you can work with in Japan, you can send your products to such companies like Kuroneko Yamato, and they have a fulfillment center. So instead of buying a product here in Hawaii and waiting for the mail to get there in 2 weeks, if it's in the fulfillment center, they might get it within 48 hours, which I've noticed from looking at reviews on Amazon and other shopping platforms. The consumers are put a lot of emphasis on when they get their product. Yeah, so this is growing, so you should keep an eye out on how you can use the right fulfillment center for you. The second one is currency converter. Since the big merit of selling online is if you're just going to sell locally, it's the same as having a store. But the websites, anybody can view it anywhere in the world. So you want to be able to ship and also sell anywhere to the world. And one of the things that helps out the most is having a currency converter on your website. To be upfront, this isn't an accurate currency converter because people use their credit card, and your credit card company determines when the batch goes through and at what moment the conversion of your currency is really happening. So you could buy a product on Monday, but your credit card company might not process it within their system until Wednesday. So it's kind of a user-friendly thing there, but you also want to let your users know that it's just kind of a guideline parameter, is not the exact currency when checking out. If you're interested in looking more into multi-currency checkout, check out this website called 2Checkout. They're very good at multi-currency checking out, and they are actually a lot more close in real time. The third part of growing your IT business right now is using like business administration apps. There's a lot of free apps that you can download and put into your phone or install into your website, or actually integrate with your website to help better run your website in real time. I know as a business owner, you must be busy, so it's good to have these informations up at hand. Some of the apps will be obviously the Shopify app that has a nice app that you can use on your phone. So instead of being at your desktop all the time checking information, you can get notifications real time using your app. The Square app sales is very familiar with a lot of small business owners, which you can do credit card transactions on the go. There's a whole lot of apps out there, but you should also look into add-on apps. So a lot of people are familiar with like Square Up app, but what most people don't know is Square Up actually has a couple dozen affiliate companies that you can tie up your Square Up system with this specific company. For instance, there's a company called Homebase that calculates all your time cards and has a GPS location tracking for your employees. So you can manage where your employees are working at and what time they're checking in. And what you do is you go to Square App and you choose Homebase to add on to your Square App. So there's infinite possibilities of how you can use this and how to incorporate it into your website. So, if you're having difficulty with the administrative part of your business, try to do some searches and find something if there's something out there that can supplement or help your business. And also, this is very, very big since, you are selling internationally, you want to have language support for your website. The biggest one will be having a bilingual staff. So if somebody is looking at your website and they need support, they're going to contact you or email you. So it's nice to have a bilingual staff to help you take care of the questions that come in. And also, obviously a bilingual website. But here you want to be careful, and I cannot emphasize this enough, is you want to have a dedicated URL. And what this means is I've seen many of my customers come to me when they already have a semi-bilingual site, but they're not getting any results from it. The reason that's happening is a lot of times you would have your domain.com/JP. What that means is you have you have two languages within one domain. You don't want that. You want to have two separate sites. And you also don't want to use one of those auto translation ones. They are not recognized by the search engines, hence you won't get picked up in the language at all. So if you're going to start building a bilingual website, you need to understand the structure of your website from the start. Otherwise, you're just wasting time and money on something that's not going to produce you any results. Here are some interesting web trends for the year of 2021. Okay. So in 2020, before the COVID pandemic, the average web user used about 3.5 hours of web time during the day. During the end portion of 2020, this grew up to 8.2 hours. So people are spending more than twice the amount of time looking at information, videos, content. So having more multimedia experience for your website, people take the time to actually look at it now. So what this means is you can add more video content. You can add more 3D virtual tours. You can increase your text content. Here's an interesting one that's I like using is the augmented reality. You may have seen this when you're looking like at a car maker like Toyota or Honda website. You can go there and actually build your car without visiting the dealer. You can change the color of the exterior. You can change the seat type from leather and so on by clicking one button, and the visual effect of the website switches it to your preference. So you can kind of build your own car on here. And this is very popular in industries where you're making something custom for people. Another one is captivating questionnaire. So instead of just having a questionnaire contact form where people put their name, email address, and send their information, it's nice to have more of a customized form where you can gather more information and get the conversation with your consumers getting started at a faster point. Okay. This part is like completing a transaction, which it sounds pretty straightforward, but ironically, a lot of websites tend to forget this part. So people visit the website to try to, complete something. Like, let's say you want to go to your dentist's office, but you go to the website and it says for reservations, please call. Instead of doing that, you should have an appointment scheduling system where people can select their appointment and book their appointment to come there. It's ironic when you have websites and it says contact us for more information, call us for more information, download this PDF. You want to make sure your website meets what your customer wants and you complete what they're trying to do. So that's what we mean by complete transaction here. And one of the ways to get started by doing this is you want to create a transaction flow chart. You want to understand what your user is trying to do for the website. And you want to define what that target goal is. So it may be an appointment, reservation, online payment options. If they do make an appointment, it's nice to have reminders and things like that. So essentially, instead of having an office clerk who does this all day long, you have your customers do it directly on their website, which will save them time and save you time and money. Here are some design trends that are increasingly getting popular during 2021. First one is scrollytelling. This is where you see a vertical story being told on your website. And it's very entertaining to the user as well as informative because you're following it step by step while you're scrolling down on the website. The second one is colorless design. As mentioned before, we're spending so much more time on smartphones now that all the tiny design elements that we used to use on the background of our website, font styles, and so on, are just getting in the way. So a lot of these colorless black and white web designs are a lot more easier to understand, and it's more simple. So you get your product or information stands out more. Parallax animation is very popular, is where the background sticks to the back while the foreground is moving. So you have a bit of a animation effect where you can have your users look at. Digital interpretations of physical products. This is hard to understand just from the word, but let's say if you're selling shampoo, usually you just take a picture of the bottle. What is getting trendy now is people actually have the shampoo being pumped out, so you actually see the shampoo's color. You see the actual liquid form. So it's not just showing the front, the back, and here's your product. You're showing what your product really looks like in real life. You open the box, you take the toothpaste out of the tube. You want to show more of your product so you have better digital interpretations of the physical product. Video marketing. This is a huge, huge increase in the year 2020 and in 2021. Just because people are spending more time watching videos. What this means is, people are advertising more on YouTube advertising. So if you haven't already tried advertising on YouTube, you really want to look into it because people are spending ridiculous amount of time watching videos, and each video starts off with a 10-15 second advertisement. The cool thing about the YouTube ads is you can have it as a skippable ad, which means if they skip the ad and within 5 seconds, it's a free ad, so it doesn't cost you anything. So if you can create an ad within 5 seconds, you're basically getting a tremendous amount of exposure to a lot of users with virtually no cost at all. Here's another interesting trend that's happening in 2021 is the seniors. The baby boomers are starting to watch YouTube a lot more. We're up to 2.2 billion people watching, new users on YouTube. And you can see here that 75% of these new seniors are watching YouTube because it embraces their nostalgia. 68% use it to stay in the know. This is like those how-to videos. Oh, I'm sorry, this is the how-to videos. The 68% is like more news, informative information. So YouTube was more, when it initially started, it was more like, funny cats here, panda sneezing, and so on. But it's really turning more into a media platform for everybody. And it's really, if you can tap into advertising here or using YouTube, it's a highly recommended tool you should utilize. That's the gist of my information for e-commerce for 2021. I'd like to thank High Step, DBA, and we're not at the foreign trade zone, but usually we are, Small Business Association. And of course, thank you, Rob, for hosting this webinar.
Thank you very much, Konzo. One of the things I wanted to talk about was the harmonized code that you brought up. I think that our companies in Hawaii need to learn about this sooner. So I'd like to share. Can you reshare the screen with me?
Sure, sure.
Basically, what we can do, yeah, that's good. This is important for our companies here to know what their code is. There's thousands and thousands of codes. You can imagine that basically anything that is made and even services have an HS code, and it's the harmonized system, and that means it's harmonized by all the countries in the world, at least the major countries that trade with each other. And so the code that you use in the US is generally the code that you use in Japan or Germany or what have you. So if you go to the US Commerce Department's International Trade Administration website at trade.gov, there's a page there called Understanding HS Codes and the Schedule B. You can just search up HS codes at trade.gov and you'll be taken to a tool that'll help you figure out what your harmonized code should be for the product that you're selling. And then your customers will want to know that, and the shippers will certainly want to know that. And it reflects the tariffs, if there are any, that are inbound in Japan or whichever country you're shipping to. The other concept I'd like to talk about for a second is the fulfillment center. And many of our companies in Hawaii will get 1 or 2 orders a year from Japan or Korea or somewhere, and then ship that product to Japan. And it can be that the shipping cost is actually more than the value of the product itself. So let's say you have a $25 box of chocolate and you ship it to Japan and it costs you $50 to ship it in a USPS flat rate box. It's too cost prohibitive to grow the business. So what we are trying to encourage our companies is to get into a program where they can ship by ocean a pallet or 2 of product and then store it at a fulfillment center so that it's cheaper to ship those products on a per unit basis. But then once the customer orders it in Japan, they can get it very quickly from one of the fulfillment centers. So that's something where I'm really pushing our local companies to work on. Another aspect you talked about, Konzo, which I think is really important, is making our Hawaii companies' websites very mobile device friendly, meaning that most of the interactions that our companies will have with a Japanese consumer is going to be on a mobile phone and not very often on a full website in a browser on a desktop or a laptop computer. So most people are going to order product from their mobile phone or at the biggest, maybe an iPad. So the websites that you're putting up should be mobile friendly, or mobilized, as that industry likes to refer to it as. So please look at that. Hanzo talked about the SEO option, or the search engine optimization and search engine marketing, SEM. And I think that that's really critical. Hanzo, I think, was being a little too gentle when he said that Google Translate is probably not the best way for our companies to be looking for those foreign words, and that we really need a foreign uh, writer of the language. Just as in English, there's some people who are good writers and bad writers, and in Japanese and any other language, there's people who are good writers and not good writers. So make sure that you're getting a reputable translator here in Hawaii who can help you with the words, and whether it's katakana or hiragana or kanji or some combination thereof of the three written languages. Make sure that you're using the right kind of person to translate that for you. With that, I'm going to close, and I'd like to thank Hanzo very much again for being here. If you have any questions about his services, please contact him. Did you put up your contact information?
Yes, it's at the end of the presentation.
And the website is easy to find at imaginewebcreation.com, and telephone number is 808-343-4040. Okay, so with that, thanks again, Kondo. It's always nice to see you. We really appreciate you being here and sharing your expertise, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks for having me. Goodbye.